Welcome to the seasonal and part-time handbook training for fiscal year 2020-2021. Please follow along. First, we have the table of contents that lets you know which policies are on which pages of your employee handbook. First is the introduction, and welcome to Sandy City for new employees. An exciting and challenging experience awaits you as an employee of Sandy City. To answer some of the questions you may have concerning the city and its policies, we have prepared this handbook. Please read it thoroughly and retain it for future reference. The information in this handbook supersedes any prior handbooks that you may have. We've also provided information about Sandy City. Please be sure that you're reading through this as we are going through that bullet points of the handbook. The current population for 2020, the estimate is 99,700. Next is the Sandy City mission and values. Working together to enhance the quality of life in our community. We have the acronym of ASPIRE to show our values: accountability, safety and security, people-focused, integrity, respect, and excellence. We proudly welcome you to our team. We are confident that through your efforts and dedication, the city will continue to make advances in finding new and better ways to serve the public. Next is Part 2, Employment Policies. Sandy City hires on the basis of the ability to perform a position's essential functions without regard to race, color, religion, sex, pregnancy, childbirth or pregnancy-related conditions, national origin, age, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, genetics, protected veteran status, or any other class protected by applicable federal, state, and local employment laws. Next is sexual harassment. It is the city's policy to regard sexual harassment as a very serious matter and to prohibit it in the workplace or among the workforce by any person and in any form. This will be explained in more detail in the sexual harassment training. Next is the complaint procedure that we will address at the end of the handbook. Next is medical examinations. Final applicants for hire in designated positions will undergo a physical examination after a conditional offer of employment has been made. We then provide information on where to go if you are required to attend a medical examination. Next is employment of relatives. Under certain conditions, Sandy City restricts and in some cases prohibits the hiring and promotion of current employees' relatives to avoid actual or perceived conflicts of interest. The city will exercise sound business judgment in the place of related employees in accordance with Utah State Code. Next is personnel files. The city maintains personnel files on each employee. If you are interested in reviewing your file, please visit the Human Resources Office. Next is termination of employment. If you desire to terminate your employment relationship with Sandy City, you are urged to notify the city at least 2 weeks prior to your intended termination. Next is job abandonment. Any employee who is absent from work without giving notification and was capable of giving notification may be disciplined for failure to report to work. Discipline may include, but is not limited to, termination. In rare situations, an employee may be absent from work due to a medical emergency or other unforeseen circumstances, which keeps the employee from providing timely notification of an absence. In such instances, the employee or the employee's representative should contact the supervisor as soon as possible to explain the situation. Part 3, Compensation Policies. Classification of employment. For purposes of employee recruitment, hiring, and separation, salary administration, and eligibility for employee benefits, the city classifies its employees. We have provided the table that explains which category of employee receives which benefits. Next is the regular pay procedure. You will normally be paid by check on a bi-weekly basis, usually on a Friday. If a scheduled payday falls on a city-observed holiday, you will usually be paid on the day preceding the holiday. We then provide a list of the holidays through June of 2021. Please notice the dates that have asterisks indicate there are 3 paydays in that month. Next is working hours and breaks. Lunch periods. Each employee working at least an 8-hour day is entitled to a 1-hour unpaid lunch period. A 30-minute unpaid lunch may be taken with department head approval. Part-time employees working 5 or more hours a day are entitled to at least a 30-minute unpaid lunch period. Next is rest breaks. Each employee is entitled to a 15-minute paid rest break around the midpoint of each 4-hour segment worked. Lactation breaks. For 1 year after the birth of the employee's child, female employees are entitled to a reasonable break time to breastfeed or express milk during the workday. Next is recording hours. To ensure that accurate records are kept of the hours you actually work and of the leave time you have taken, all non-exempt employees are required to record time worked and absences on your department's timekeeping records. Please ensure that your actual hours worked and leave time are recorded accurately. Failure to accurately record your hours may result in loss of pay for that period and possible discipline. The appropriate number of hours will be transferred to the city's time entry system to ensure you are paid for the hours worked. Next, we have provided a sample of your paycheck stub. Please make sure to log into the system after orientation to ensure that your supervisor can accurately enter your time. We've also provided the link to our online system. Each of the boxes in red will indicate what the different locations and meanings are for definitions on your paycheck stub. If you have any questions, please ask your supervisor or HR. Next is overtime pay procedures. Your position is classified as either FLSA non-exempt or FLSA exempt. Those who are FLSA non-exempt are covered by the minimum wage and overtime provision of the Fair Labor Standards Act, or FLSA. Those who are FLSA exempt are protected from improper or illegal salary deductions. This shows that for general employees, any employees working over 40 hours will receive overtime. Next is salary programs. Sandy City is committed to maintaining wage ranges which are competitive with other Wasatch Front communities of comparable size. Annually, the Human Resources Office does conduct a wage and benefits survey of relevant communities. Based on the market and classification analysis, the Mayor's Budget Committee will review wage ranges and may recommend changes as appropriate. Next is leave. We have provided a list of holidays that Sandy City observes, which our city offices will be closed. Please note that the dates that have an asterisk are holidays that fall on a weekend and will be taken on a Friday if the holiday is on a Saturday, or a Monday if the actual date is on a Sunday. Sick leave and attendance. Seasonal and part-time or non-benefited employees do not receive paid time off. Please immediately notify your supervisor in the event that you are ill on the job or are sick and cannot come to work on a given day. Next is family medical leave. To be eligible for family and medical leave, or FMLA, you must have been working as an employee of Sandy City for 12 months, and you must have worked 1,250 hours for the city in the 12 months prior to the commencement of leave. Eligible employees are entitled to 12 weeks of unpaid job-protected family and medical leave within the calculated leave year. If you have questions, please ask Human Resources. Next is jury duty and witness leave. Seasonal and part-time or non-benefited employees are given time off without pay while serving jury duty. To qualify for jury duty or witness leave, you must submit to your supervisor a copy of the subpoena to serve as soon as it is received. In addition, proof of service must be submitted to your supervisor when your pay period or witness duty is received. Next is military leaves of absence. If you are called to active military duty or to reserve or National Guard training, or if you volunteer for the same, you should provide verbal or written notification to your supervisor and Human Resources as soon as is practical preferably by submitting a copy of your military orders. Next is Part 5, Employer Benefits. Eligibility. Seasonal and part-time non-benefited employees are not eligible for medical and dental benefits. Medicare and Social Security. Sandy City participates in the federal Medicare system, but not in the federal Social Security program. All employees hired after March 31st, 1986 are required to participate in Medicare by contributing 1.45% of gross earnings each pay period. Next is retirement plans. Because Sandy City does not participate in the Social Security system, seasonal and part-time non-benefited employees are required to use the 457 account as a retirement plan. In lieu of paying into Social Security, Sandy City will contribute 7.5% of a seasonal or part-time non-benefited employee's salary into this plan. Upon termination from Sandy City, the employee can withdraw or transfer the funds from their 457 plan. To transfer or withdraw the funds from your 457, employees should contact ICMA RC. Next is the Employee Assistance Program. The city recognizes that a wide range of problems such as marital or family distress, alcoholism, and drug abuse, not directly associated with your job function, can nonetheless be detrimental to an employee's performance on the job. Consequently, we believe it is in the interest of you and the city to provide an effective program to assist employees and their families in resolving problems such as these and when the need arises. Sandy City's Employee Assistance Program provides consultation services for referrals to local community treatment sources. Your visits to EAP are confidential. The information you share is between you and your counselor. All employees are welcome to participate in this program, regardless of whether or not they participate in the city-offered insurance plans or waive city insurance. We have provided the information for you to contact EAP. Next is workers' compensation. Sandy City is committed to helping employees who have sustained work-related injuries or illnesses and are providing the workers' compensation benefits prescribed by law. All work-related injuries must be reported immediately to your supervisor, and together you must promptly complete the workers' compensation injury report form. If you require medical attention, see one of the city workers' compensation medical providers identified on the next page immediately for treatment for your work injury. Please refer to risk management for more information. Here is the list of medical providers if you receive a job-related injury. Next is our on-site clinic, our Scope Clinic, which we are very excited about. As a benefit to Sandy employees, Sandy City contracts for an outside health clinic in which employees and their family members can obtain quality medical care. The purposes of providing an on-site clinic are to provide health outcomes for employees and their families to lower medical insurance premiums by decreasing health insurance costs, to increase employee productivity by reducing absenteeism, and to increase employee retention by fostering job satisfaction, and to improve workplace culture by increasing employee morale. We have provided a list of what the Scope Clinic offers. The Scope Clinic will accept some outside insurances. Also, for payment, the clinic will accept the following forms: HSA or HRA card, a debit or credit card, or a prepaid card. For more information on what insurance the Scope Clinic will provide, please feel free to contact them. Next is employee conduct. Guidelines for appropriate conduct. As an integral member of the city team, you are expected to accept certain responsibilities, adhere to acceptable business principles in matters of personal conduct, and exhibit a high degree of personal integrity at all times. This not only involves sincere respect for the rights and feelings of others, but also demands that you refrain from any behavior that might be harmful to you, your coworkers, and/or the city, or that might be viewed unfavorably by current or potential customers or by the public at large. Whether you are on duty or off, your conduct reflects on the city. Consequently, you are encouraged to observe the highest standards of professionalism at all times. It is the responsibility of each employee to comply with these standards, department policies, and the supervisory instructions given to them for performance of these duties. Types of behavior and conduct that the city considers important include, but are not limited to, a duty to act lawfully, a duty of ethical conduct and loyalty to the city, a duty to promote work efficiency and morale, a duty of service to the general public. Next is conflicts of interest. The following ethical standards are conduct applied to all elected and appointed officers and all regular, part-time, and seasonal employees. Sandy City Code states, city officers and employees to purchase goods or services for personal use from suppliers at discounted rates offered to the city, where the supplier makes such goods or services available to all city officers and employees on the same terms, provided the official or employee pays for such items for the official or employee's own money, and provides the purchase is not reasonably likely to improperly influence the official, employee, or a city department in the discharge of their duties, or to make purchases or supplies of services. The Internet has a list of all suppliers who offer such a discount. Your duty of loyalty to the city requires you to avoid any conflicts of city interest. You may be required for proper disclosure by filling a sworn statement with the mayor disclosing any conflicts of interest. You must make this disclosure when you are first employed by the city and any time your position in the business changes or the value of your interest changes. If you have any questions on your disclosure, please feel free to contact Human Resources. Next is information reporting and whistleblowing. Whistleblowing. As a public employee, you have a responsibility to formally inform appropriate administrative officials if you become aware of or reasonably suspect the waste of public funds, property, manpower, or a violation of law relating to your employment. Next is improper disclosure or spreading of rumors. You are responsible for refraining from spreading information which is hostile to city operations or other employees which you know have reason to know if malicious, false, or frivolous. Assisting in investigations. You have a duty to participate in an investigation, hearing, inquiry, or other form of administrative review by the city arising from a report of the existence of any waste of public funds, property, manpower, or a violation of the law as may be requested by city officials. Outside employment. Some types of outside employment may create a conflict of interest with your city job or interfere with your performance in your city position. If you wish to take a second job, you should discuss it with your supervisor. Next is distribution of literature and solicitation of gifts. In the interest of maintaining a proper business environment and preventing interference with work and the inconvenience of others, distribution of literature or printed materials of any kind and selling merchandise during the work time is restricted. Any employee must receive permission from his department director to place literature in designated areas within the department. Do not place personal solicitations, information, or announcements on the network computer system. Non-employees are likewise prohibited from distributing material or soliciting employees on city premises at any time. Next is computer and network use. In order to protect and secure the IT system, all employees must adhere to the following at all times. Questions regarding this policy and how it impacts your position should be directed to your supervisor or the IT division. Internet use. Use of the internet is not private and may be monitored for compliance with this policy. Questions regarding the use of the internet should be directed to your department head. The following generally defines what is appropriate and inappropriate for the internet. City business-related use of the internet is allowed. Time spent researching the internet should be done quickly and efficiently. Personal use of the internet is allowed only on personal time. Personal use of the internet during regular working hours should be minimized and is subject to department restrictions. Internet sites or any software programs that contains or displays pornographic or information that is sexual in nature shall not be accessed by employees at any time using the city's internet connection, except in the case of a formal law enforcement activity or other investigation approved by the chief of police, the city attorney, the CAO, or deputy CAO. Device or internet games are not to be played at any time. Next is workplace violence. Sandy City is committed to preventing workplace violence and to maintaining a safe work environment for employees, vendors, and the visiting public. Therefore, the city prohibits violent behavior. Prohibited conduct includes, but is not limited to, unlawful violent acts, fighting, stalking, harassment, intimidation, abusive language, or other similar violent conduct. The city does not tolerate any of the aforementioned conduct, unlawful threats of violence, or actual violence in any form. An employee who believes he has been subjected to or threatened with violence by a coworker, supervisor, customer, or any other person in the workplace, or is aware of another individual who has been subjected to or threatened with violence in the workplace, can report the information following the complaint resolution procedure. Next is employee gun use. Some employees wish to carry a gun for personal protection. If an employee does so, he must understand the following state law. Some individuals from carrying a gun in certain government locations, the Justice Court, and the Police Department. Additionally, with regard to using a gun, police officers, prosecutors, judges, the Justice Court Administrator, SWAT medics, and other fire investigators who have received firearms training satisfactory to the Chief of Police are the only city employees authorized to use deadly force while acting for and in behalf of Sandy City. Next is tobacco use. In order to maintain a safe and comfortable working environment, tobacco and e-cigarette usage in city offices, facilities, and vehicles is prohibited. Because the city may be subject to criminal and civil penalties for violations of applicable smoking laws, the city must insist on strict adherence to this policy. Employees smoking in any non-smoking area may be subject to disciplinary action. Next is a drug-free workplace. It is the policy of the city to create a drug-free workplace in keeping with the spirit and intent of local governmental entity drug-free workplace policies. The misuse of controlled substances or alcohol is inconsistent with the behavior expected of employees, subjects all employees and visitors at our facilities to unacceptable safety risks, and undermines the city's ability to operate effectively and efficiently. Random testing for safety-sensitive employees. Sandy City will perform random testing for individuals who have a CDL in accordance with the FMCSA requirements. Sandy City will also perform random testing for individuals not required to have a CDL who perform safety-sensitive duties for the city, such as police, fire, employees who have a responsibility of supervision of minor children, using the same rates as above for internal consistency. You can get a complete copy of this policy from your supervisor or human resources. We have provided a list of locations to go if you are told that you need to drug test. Next is workplace searches. In order to safeguard the property of our employees, our customers, and the city, and to help prevent the possession, use, and sale of illegal drugs on city premises, the city reserves the right to question employees and all other persons entering and leaving our premises, and inspect any packages, parcels, purses, handbags, briefcases, lunchboxes, or any other possessions or articles carried to and from city property. Next is safety and health. Sandy City is committed to providing a safe and healthy work environment. The city makes every effort to comply with relevant federal and state occupational health and safety laws and develop the best feasible operations, procedures, technologies, and programs conducive to such an environment. You are expected, as part of the comprehensive safety and loss prevention program, to place safe work practices and identification of unsafe locations in highest priority while performing your daily tasks. Your safety commitment must include, but is not limited to, using the safe equipment which has been provided to you in performing your daily assignments, wearing the prescribed uniform, not operating equipment or using tools for which training or orientation has not been received, warning co-workers of unsafe conditions, reporting defective equipment immediately, reporting all injuries and accidents regardless of severity. In addition, in the event of an emergency at any city facility, please dial 911. Next is hazardous condition reporting. As a city employee, city administration asks that you make it a practice to be aware of potentially dangerous situations you see throughout the city, whether you are on or off duty. Unsafe conditions may result from city work that could present a hazard to the public. If you discover dangerous situations around the city, please do what you can to secure the situation and report the problem to Public Works, Public Utilities, or the police department immediately. Next, injury and accident reporting. All work-related accidents resulting in injury or illness must be reported immediately to your supervisor. Please see the workers' compensation section for the process to report work-related injuries. Next, city vehicle use. If you drive a city vehicle, you must have a valid Utah driver's license and a good driving record. You are responsible for checking the fluid levels and overall condition of the vehicle on a daily basis. If there is anything requiring repair, you are to take the vehicle to the fleet shop at the Public Works facility unless it is unsafe to do so, in which you should call fleet. Employees driving a city-owned vehicle are also expected to adhere to the city-owned vehicle policy. If you have ever have a question about operation of a city vehicle, please talk to your supervisor. Next is personal vehicle use. If you drive on city business, you must have a valid Utah driver's license and a good driving record. Mileage reimbursement. For employees not on a vehicle allowance, you will be reimbursed at the current IRS authorized rate. Your department or division head must authorize personal vehicle travel in advance. It is your responsibility to accurately complete city mileage reports and submit them to your department or division head. Next is safety belt use. All vehicle occupants must use available safety belts and shoulder restraints at all times while traveling on city business in any vehicle being used for conducting city business. Next, cell phone use. Employee-owned cell phone use. As a Sandy City employee, you may be eligible for government employee discounts with your cell phone service. Please contact your cell phone provider to see if they participate in giving a government discount. Supervisor and subordinate relationships. Sandy City does not permit romantic relationships or dating relationships between supervisors and subordinates. For purposes of this policy, a supervisor includes any supervisor with the same line of authority as the subordinate or any person charged with evaluating the subordinate. In such a relationship, if it does develop, the supervisor involved is responsible for immediately disclosing the existence of the relationship in writing to his or her supervisor and department head. Next is the complaint resolution procedure. Misunderstandings or conflicts can arise in any organization. To ensure effective working relations, it is important that such matters be resolved before serious problems develop. Most incidents resolve themselves naturally, however. Should a situation persist that you believe is detrimental to you or the city, you should follow the procedure described here for bringing your complaints to management's attention. Step 1. Discussion of the problem with your immediate supervisor is encouraged at the first step. If, however, you don't believe a discussion with your supervisor is appropriate, you may proceed directly to Step 2. Step 2. If your problem is not resolved after discussion with your supervisor, or if you feel discussion with your supervisor is inappropriate, you are encouraged to request a meeting with your department head. In an effort to resolve the problem, the department head will consider the facts, conduct an investigation, and may also review the matter with a member of Human Resources. You will normally receive a response regarding your problem within 10 calendar days of meeting with your department head. If you do not feel comfortable with either of these options, you may always consider if you have a claim of discrimination involving a protected class such as race, color, religion, sex, pregnancy, childbirth, or pregnancy-related conditions, national origin, age, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, genetics, or protected veteran status, retaliation, harassment, workplace violence, or any other unlawful treatment, you should report it immediately to your division head, department head, the city attorney, human resources director, assistant human resources director, human resource analyst, or chief administrative officer, or the mayor. The city does not tolerate any form of retaliation against employees availing themselves of this procedure. Contact your supervisor or human resources for more details of this process. Next is the appendix. This has the city vehicle use authorization form. If this applies to you, please talk to your supervisor. This concludes the Sandy City Seasonal Employee Handbook training. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact Human Resources. Thank you.